welcome back. This is good morning to you. This is Sunday here on Idea TV, and this is the newspaper review. A lovely one. Good morning to you wherever you might be watching from. This is on page 5 of the Nations this morning. Also on page 4, we see here that's in Kwara, Abdul Razak Sariki in war of words over Square. Meanwhile, on page 10, gunmen kill doctor and abduct three children in Abuja, the state capital. On we see here Tinubu to Northern Christian. I will remain fair to all religion, vows to unite the nation under shared vision of peace and prosperity, says administration prevailing in war against insecurity. That's all of the nation, and then we see a picture of Tinubu, the president of Nigeria. Also, we see the Plateau State governor, and also the All Progressive National Chairman during the funeral prayers for his mother, the mother of the APC National Chairman in Plateau, Jos. That was taken yesterday. Yesterday, Jonathan was in the news as regards the conversation about Buhari and also Boko Haram. I'm saying that Boko Haram actually nominated Buhari to be their negotiator between the government and also themselves. And then now again, we're seeing that Jonathan is coming out to say that, okay, no, I didn't say that Buhari knew them. But what I was saying is that they asked for Buhari to be a negotiator, and that's what he's saying this morning in the news. And also, we're seeing stories of insecurity here and there. And also, I guess the main thing I will also discuss here is how Tinubu has promised the Northern Christian that his plans are to unite everybody and is being fair to all religion. Is not treating anybody on the basis of religion. And I guess that's one of the good ways to ensure, you know, fair equity for everyone, so that everyone finds peace at the end of the day, regardless of your religion. You are represented fairly, and also you're heard, you're seen, and that is a nice one. And also he was at Plateau yesterday, and where he were to bury the mother of the APC national chairman. Okay, now let's move on straight up to the Sunday Punch to see what's been said on Sunday Punch this morning. Yes, start with the story from the Ministry of is that embassies back federal government's crackdown on illegal immigrants. That's on page 3, as 3,000 foreigners register for amnesty. Meanwhile, on page 10, we see that article knocks Tinubu as president calms Northern Christian. Meanwhile, on page 12 and 13, we see that entertainers share hope, fears, and dreams for Nigeria. That's on page 12 and 13. Meanwhile, Tunde Bakare is under serious pressure to join the ADC on page 27 this morning. And also, we see that robes to probe fraud in foreign country foreign missions, reps to probe fraud in foreign missions. And that's on page 6. Meanwhile, on page 4, we see how rogue soldiers divert war weapons to bandits. That's as regards some uncovering stories right there. Meanwhile, we see that federal government predicts 5-day flooding in 16 states yet again. And that's on page 6. Meanwhile, on page 16 and 14, we see here that desperate patients to turn to social media for cure. That's on page 16 and also page 17. Meanwhile, we see that people shocked I gave birth 15 years after infertility. Educational consultants. That's what she is saying this morning. Meanwhile, on page 3, we have the big story as Jonathan weighs ADC option amidst comeback report. Party chieftain confirmed ongoing talk with ex-president Also, he said we defeated him before, we will do it again. I mean, this a very great story here on the point this morning, and there's a lot of the Ministry of Interior are currently trying to look out ways to crack down on certain individuals who are currently in Nigeria illegally, and it's really a really nice one to see that they are actually doing all of this to ensure that if no one comes into the states and is not registered, they don't have proper documentation. Because on the flip side, it's not good for them and also not good for whoever is staying illegally, because you don't have some certain rights and all of that. So it's really amazing to see that. I mean, one of those ministries that is actually working really 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 so hard is the Ministry of Interior, and it's really nice to see. We want more. I mean, also we have other ministries that are also working, but I think in the past 2 days now, the Ministry of Interior has been in the news for I think 2 times or thereabout. Just saying things and being there, showing up, and also there's a story as regards flooding. So yet again, the Federal Ministry of Environment has issued a flood alert predicting heavy rainfall and also possible flooding in about 13 locations across 16 states from October 4 down to October 8 this year. That's in the next, I guess we're already in that period right now. And the warning released through the National Flood Early Warning System center, signed by Usman Bonkani, Director of Erosion, Flood, and also Coastal Zone Management Department, listed areas in Delta, Yobe, Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, Oyo, Kebbi, Kano, Niger, Benue, Delta, Cross River, Rivers, and also Edo State. All governments and also stakeholders to take preventive measures to ensure that to reduce the impact of the anticipated flood, and they are expecting that government also take anticipatory action to cope all of this. And also already in 2025 alone, flood has claimed the lives of 232, displaced around 121,000 persons, and have injured 681 persons in us 2025 alone. And with the number of people displaced from their houses really old, and we do not want to see these numbers increase, and that is why we have early warning signs like this to prevent catastrophic events. Let's move on now straight up to the Tribune to see what's been said on the Tribune this morning. It says, I inherited Islam from my family, but my wife as pastor prays for me all the time. That is what Tinubu says on page 6 of the Sunday Tribune this morning. And also we see here that bandits on Kogi, that's on page 5, as they adopt wife, children, shoot husband, kidnap 7 travelers on highway, demand 100 million naira ransom. 2 local governments ban sales of petrol in jerrycan over insecurity. And also on page 27, we see here that Sokoto residents demand rights to self-defense against bandits. That's on page 27. Meanwhile, we see here that Abuja is safe, secure, Wiki assures after inspecting ongoing FCTA project. That's on page 5. And then on page 6, we see a tax reforms unbound office to protect taxpayers, boost compliance. That's what FRRS is saying. That's the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Meanwhile, on page 2, Adeleke did not grant Seliman seat to murder suspect, Osun government says. Meanwhile, on page 4, ASU 14-day ultimatum, NAS threatened to shut down activities nationwide. That's on page 4 of the Tribune this morning. I mean, a lot's been said here. Again, a number of things around insecurity. We cannot flood the issue of insecurity too much. There are a lot of things that are going on currently in the country and are not so secure. And we need people, to be safe. I mean, the story of about This is about 10 persons alone in Kogi over the night. Story of adopted wife and children, the husband shot, stories of travelers on the highway being kidnapped, stories of say number of insecurity left and right, and also although also in the news as well is the FCT state minister reassuring citizens of the FCT that they should calm down. They should that Abuja is safe and also it's secure, and there's no cause for alarm. And also Tinubu in the news to say that his wife as a pastor prays for him, although he is Muslim. His wife prays for him because she's a pastor. But we're going to break now. Once we return, we'll continue with the newspaper review. We'll be right back.
Industry Cloud Platforms. Industry Cloud Platforms offer tailored solutions for specific industries such as healthcare, finance, and manufacturing. These platforms provide specialized tools to meet regulatory compliance requirements while boosting operational efficiency. For example, healthcare cloud platforms streamline patient data management and support care coordination. However, the challenge lies in ensuring data security and interoperability between platforms. The market for industry cloud platforms is expected to reach $83 billion by 2025.
Newspaper review here on Idea TV. Move on quickly with the weekend trust, the weekend version of the Daily Trust. On page 26, you see here that bridge roads come to flood in Taraba, Kebbi, and also others. Meanwhile, on page 6, all courts halt police glass permit. Meanwhile, page 16 as well, we see here that Chibok girls adoption is scar I will die with. That's what Jonathan is saying. Meanwhile, on page 13, how misinformation throws Nigerian women into surrogacy ditch. That's on page 13. Meanwhile, on page 28, we see the lives of former governor turned traditional rulers. That's on page 28. Meanwhile, we see that depression fueled marriages for drug abuse among women. And yet again, the story of insecurity creeps in with a very infographics here that been in data how much of Kwara has bled in the past months. Breaking them down into affected areas, number of persons killed, number of persons kidnapped, and it's really, really, really sad. It's affected areas here and there, number of attacks here and there, and it's really sad to see all of this happen in both high ends of Kwara that is happening, and then the number of 71 persons have been killed this year. Persons have been kidnapped over the years as well. And also we're seeing also a breakdown of how it was in January, February, and April. So a very large number of persons killed and a number of persons kidnapped, with 24 and 15 respectively. And in September as well had another high with 21 persons kidnapped and also 16 persons killed. Or in October, but that's about 5 days into October, already 2 persons have been kidnapped in Kwara. Calls for more stricter security measures to ensure the safety of citizens, especially of those that are in Kwara. And also we have the story of the tinted glass permit. It's a really interesting one. So in a court in Warri, where a lawyer, John Martins, sued the NPF, the Inspector General of Police, for making the order as regards tinted glass, the court has actually altered the enforcement of this particular policy that was just put in place. It was not really put in place, but it was said to be more enforcement because already it's in the mobile. I really can't remember the act now of 1991, and it is what. It was on this premises that John Martins actually sued the Inspector of Police, and now we're seeing that things are changing. And also, yesterday it was also in the news as regards how the police is yet to receive a formal document from the court to actually ensure that they should halt the enforcement of this. So while they await that, they will still. That was what the police PRO said yesterday. That is Benjamin Odeyi. Also, that was in the news yesterday. And also, we're seeing the story of Chibok. I mean, Chibok girls is one that actually, I guess, it broke the whole nation because it was a very sad one, and it prolonged for very long days. And it was really, really, really sad. And I do understand what it means for a sitting president at that time to have experienced this, because it was a lot of backlash. It was a lot of, because a lot of girls that were kidnapped from that particular school. And really, really, really sad one. I mean, people have gone up, and we've seen advocates, we've seen artists come up to speak on this story, and really there's no time that it's not a sad one. And also, yet again, the story of flood is in the news as well. I mean, at this point, if you still believe that climate change is a scam, I mean, I probably you're living on the moon where climate change doesn't exist. But if you're living here on planet Earth, climate change is real, and also we're seeing the impacts in our neighborhood. And one of such is the number of floods that we recorded this year, the number of persons that have been lost. There was also flood, and I mean, I think we will also talk about how much of farmland has also been lost because of flood as well. And so it's a lot of things, and in fact it is more of anticipatory action now. Yet again in the news today is the story of persons needing to go it's a story of persons needing to go and to secure the environment, and that's in like 13 states. That's a number of states. If you know anyone in all of these states, probably reach out to them to ensure that their local government is not in one of the red zones that's already been marked. And I guess that's all we're able to take this morning on the newspaper review. My name is Paul. Thanks for joining. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms at Idea TV. See you tomorrow.